Hey, welcome. It's week 32 of 2026. And I have a little presentation for you guys tonight. Um, and thank you for showing up because this is our Sunday fellowship with Father. And maybe you don't, but I'm going to remind you that Jesus, when he died on the cross and resurrected on the early morning, right, before the dawn on Sunday, right, first day of the week. And because of that, they'd gone to the ladies had gone to the tomb and were looking to prepare his body or put some more spices on it. Anyway, they noticed the tombs rolled away or the stone was rolled away, and they went and ran and told the disciples, John and Peter. They had a race. John beat Peter, and da 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 da. So you guys know the story. But that night, right on the Sunday night after Jesus resurrects, the disciples are gathering on a Sunday night on the first day of the week, and Jesus showed up. And that's what I'm hoping tonight. And in fact, I've been studying and working on this all day, that we really want God to show up. And this last week, I had him show up in some amazing ways. And thank you for those of you who prayed that God would take care of some of those requests that I laid out last week. And he did some amazing things, opened some great doors so that I could help with the seminary here it's actually in Ontario, but there was an event up here so that we could use some of the seminary resources to help our um, young pastor preps, right? The guys who want to go on and maybe pastor a church or lead some bigger organizational structures in the convention or whatnot. But the Lord knows who He's drawing, and it's a good thing when He raises up workers, right? Because the fields are white for harvest, and we need workers. And this is my passion. We need workers, but we need to have some better systems in the church to make sure that we're offering clear teaching and education about how Christians are supposed to behave. And again, being nice and being cordial is part of it, but it goes way beyond that because we're not here just to be nice to people. We're here to persuade them to receive Christ. Now, again, I do it. So other people do it. I mean, everybody they meet, they're looking to share the gospel with them and try to get them to, receive Christ. And whatever. And this is the whole point of it. I'm trying to drive that. Everybody's different, and everybody has a different set of unique giftedness. And those who really feel that likely are just highly and strongly gifted in evangelism and soul winning, and that just rings to you. And if that's the case, then you are in the right place because we're going to train you up. We've got our disciple making series coming up. And the disciple making series has two parts. There's a 40-day kind of initial part called disciple. So a 40-day disciple. And we're doing this for Valley Baptist Church, kind of aiming for them first. And it'll take a few months to roll that out. We're just getting that started next, probably in the start of the fall. So in October. So we can get that going. But between now and then, we're going to try to run some small group tests and get some people on this call and do some other stuff like that. So just hang with us and practice this stuff now. And then when we get on this call and we get it going, we're going to have the different webinars set up. So you'll see different people on the call, and then we can show the whole gallery and it'll just be a time we can build some fellowship. And then during that time, we'll have a little message and have some prayer time and have some singing and some worship and then what we really want to do in that last part is we really want to just kind of take from the training. We want to segue into a presentation of our plans. Like, what's your plan for the week? Do you have it written out? It's got it mapped out. And so we want to just kind of be driving to that point so that everybody is getting in the game and saying, oh, I need to be doing all this stuff because God wants us to do all this stuff because it pleases God when we obey him and follow him. And moreover, he wants to rescue people out of Satan's domain of darkness, right? They're just deceived. And so that's our job to do that. So, with that said, just again, as you kind of can feel that, I have a quick message tonight I'm going to lay out for you. And then I have some prayer requests that I'm going to be putting up on some different avenues. And we'll get that distributed. But I really would like, if you're listening to this call, go to the website, KIG for AGK. We're going to do a little cheer at the end, just so you remember, make sure you remember the battle cry for Kingdom Investor Group, which is the occupational cultures. And occupational cultures are all serving God's bigger mission, which is advancing his kingdom, right? Is advancing his authority. And what's his authority? That he has authority over the evil one who deceived everybody. And he's rescuing everybody who will just receive him. You don't have to be perfect. He's perfect. That's what he's saying. He's saying, you don't forget about you trying to be perfect because it's not possible. Now, it doesn't mean just go and sin, but it just means stop being overly uh, anxious or worry filled. Like they're hearing that sermon about worry all this week, and I'm probably worrying, but God's doing his good things. So we all struggle with that, right? Because there's this balance between our responsibility, and note that word, responsibility. You can respond. And that's what we're trying to just wake everybody up to, because once you realize you're in a culture and you're in a rut, you're in a routine and rut, short, right? Short routine shortened is rut. You get it. Anyway, that idea of just being in the same place, and then you're asking, well, what's the point of all this? Get up, run out, and you go, the cycles start to go, and you just think rinse and repeat. What I want to stop you, and I want you to say, hey, there is a bigger plan there. There is a bigger plan. And then not just to know the plan, but to know the planner, like to know the Father. And this is the beauty, and this is what I want to just, this is my life. I want to grab as many people as I can, sit them down, and have a regular session with them. And one of our guys that's on the call, and it's going to be joining us too, his name is Dr. Chris Sassouni, and he's just a brilliant guy. Somehow we hooked up and got connected, and we ended up doing like 5 years of this Sunday night discipleship call. And he got a full first year, well, probably even a second year seminary training that I gave him personally. So we had a little coaching session. So he'll be here, and we'll have him doing some training stuff too. And we have a bunch of people too that are just kind of like I'm gathering them as I can, and the challenge. Well, anyway, lots of challenges. You guys all know challenges, but the point is, we have to kind of press through the challenges and get to the gold, right? Press through the places, through the pressure points, and let God form. Um, diamonds, right? Diamonds need pressure, and you need pressure. And the pressure that you're under, don't forget, God knows you need pressure, and he's going to give you the right amount. So what we're doing here is we're kind of planning our way, and then we just entrust it to the Lord, and we say, Lord, we're going to just rely on you. So with that kind of introduction and stuff, one of the parts I wanted to lay out for you guys was a little bit of a what is this thing called? A PowerPoint. Yeah, yeah. So PowerPoint, and let me get you set up on that. And I'm relearning how to do all this stuff. I was pretty good at it for a while. Um, Bear with me. I'm close. All right. Well, apparently I'm not as close as I thought. Uh, where's the share screen? Lord help me. See, there it is. The share screen. Even before I asked. Okay, I'm going to share this with you now. Okay, so everybody can see this. And get this started over here. So we're, again, week 32. and it's early third quarter, right? So if you think about the four quarters of a game, and 2026 is the season that we're in, we're kind of, we're past the June July split, which is the middle of the year. And then as we're rolling into July, right, then we're kind of gaining up speed. So we're in third quarter, and now we're in August. So we're in the middle of summer. Anyway, it's important for me personally just to kind of keep aware of where I am in the clock. And I just turned 61, so I got another 150 years probably to be rejoicing and learning. Just joking. You guys know that we all have a temporary engagement here, but this engagement is really the one that matters, because what we do here is going to store up treasure for us in heaven. And so be diligent to work hard, to be always fellowshipping with the Lord, right? So that's what we're doing. You guys are here. That's why you're on this call, because we're fellowshipping with Father. And my exhortation to you is that we need to have a plan. So let me lay out a little bit of the plan I'm looking at. So you got this week 32. And what I wanted to show you was the strategy toward knowing God better, right? So the objective, of course, is filling heaven with souls. So we want people to get saved, and we want to help them grow in their relationship with Christ. But not just that, we want to help, motivate them so that they have confidence in the Lord, that they just say, wow, this is the greatest thing in the world. And I would love to share with anybody who has questions. And again, that's what you're doing. You're just being prepared to make a defense. Just prepare to make a defense, and then ask God to send people that want to challenge it. And then you make a defense. And it's really fun, because your goal is to persuade people, to be inviting to them, to say, come, bring your questions. And then you just tell them, look, that's a great question. I don't have the answer. I don't know a lot of stuff, but we'll figure it out. Come on. And then, call me and I'll hook you up with whoever you need. And we'll find the answers. And again, why would we do that? Because these people are precious and we love them. We love them and we want to help them. And you help them as much as you can, right? So that's our goal. And who are we after? We're after the UN leaders, right? So the UN, the United Nations, 1945, it started. So we're closing on that 80 year, well, we just passed the 81. We're at 82nd year now. And it's still operational, but we've got some work to do, right? And we're going to continue to see that grow. And my hope and my aspiration, my expectation is that that form of global cooperation between the nations can continue. And we're fully aware that Iran and some of these other nations that are saying, no, we're not ever going to play because we want to dominate everybody. Look, dominating everybody, that's God's role. So you want to be God? I know somebody who did that job. Don't you remember his name? Called the devil. Yeah, no, Jack. We're not here to do that. We're here to love people and serve them, because God is the king and this is what he's told us to do. Right? So we get that clear. So the battle cry for Mission 2025, you can see it there on your piece, is by New Year's Eve 2049. So this 2025 thing is a 25 year, right? The whole, and I go 25 years. So we're talking about centuries now, not a year, but a century, 100 years. So 25 years is a quarter century. You get the idea. So to qualify, UN has these qualifications that define the nations, right? And there's 38 developed nations right now that have, and again, of those, some are very highly developed, like the U.S. And some of our other neighbors, like Canada, I think, and there's another bunch that are in that higher group. Anyway, we'll get in all the detail later, but I'm just trying to lock you into this idea that what that qualification is about how well the leadership team of that nation has done in taking care of their general population, the people in their nation. The Gen Pop is what I call them. Just kind of a nicer way to say it, or funner way, I guess. Um, and so my prayer, just a note here on the little slide, my prayer is that I'm praying that God, and even in this fellowship time tonight, praying with you and praying with God, that God, you would just grant me favor with men and women, that I could lead them to Christ and help them to escape the deception and receive the reception. Escape the deception and receive the reception. Come on, we can do it and have fun with it, right? And here you go. Next slide. So God's plan, and this is the message tonight, maybe. God's plan makes us plan. That's a message maybe for you. God's plan makes us plan. In other words, he set it up. And so because he set it up, we're going to follow his plan. You get it? So as you're thinking about your week coming up, you're thinking about what you've got going on. And so you're planning your week ahead. We're kind of shifting gears right to the planning portion of this. And so we're asking the Lord, Lord, help me understand, who are you likely to see? Right? So you want to be thinking about that tonight. Who's on that prayer list? And then you'd be thinking about them personally and pray for the leaders of that organization that you're talking to. And ask God to give you favor and an opportunity to make a defense for the faith. Just be overly nice to people, and they'll say, what's the matter with you? Why are you so smiley and happy all the time? And then if they don't know already, you can tell them. But I'm sure they already know. But that's okay. That's our witness, right? That we're having a great time even when everybody else is not, or thinking it's a horrible situation. So then thinking about these questions here will get you going. Let me shift the gears next. So God's plan makes us plan is the idea, but think about this. Before your map, God already had his map prepared. And in that stewardship, right? Because God owns it and he's commissioned us to cultivate the land. So he's given us a bunch of assets in our Imago Dei, a bunch of skills and capacities and powers that we can just go and use to make food and make cities and make houses, right? And build nations. We can do those things, and we have to have a plan, though. Well, let's put it this way. You can do them without a plan, but they won't be very efficient because you've got to plan for all of the infrastructure. And if you plan well for the infrastructure, then everything else goes. So we have to create a plan and then work the plan. Create a plan and work the plan. So, Lord, tonight, as we're having this conversation with my buddies here, I pray that you would help each of us, Father, see clearly what your plans are and help us follow them. And so tonight, I wanted to shift gears to the other component here is that God's God's plan, right, makes us to have a plan that we're stewards. So we have to kind of make our weeks work, and that's making every day work. So you're asking God to fill you so that you could flow His love to all the people in all your cultures all the time. And that's what living is, right? It's 24 hours a day, right? There's no stopping. You're always alive. And so being comfortable with that, and you are a powerful entity, you're a powerful image of God. And you can make your own decisions. You can choose stuff and you can reject God. That's possible to do that. And there's lots of people that have done it and died that way. And it's pretty horrible. And we try to do all we can to persuade them, but when they don't repent and when they don't listen and when they won't hear, those are times when we get really flabbergasted, but then we can just step back and say, God's will be done. I can't control other people. Can't even control myself. So it's not about control anymore. It's about following. Just be a sheep. You don't have to be in control. You just have to follow the shepherd. He'll take care of you and it'll be good. So just follow the shepherd. One last piece here, planning this mission. And this is for me personally and kind of my prayer request tonight. And Lord, you know that I've been planning this mission 2025. I had this great time with you, fellowshipping with you, and you laid this on my heart over the last months, last years of last months of 2024. And then, everything. I don't know, Lord. There's so much in my life that I just can't understand, but I'm doing what I'm preaching. I'm just trying to get up and follow you. Get up and follow you. They beat you up in one sitting, throw you out, take everything you had. Just get up and God will lead you to the next place. Sometimes you'll send somebody to rescue you and rapture you out of there. I've had that happen a few times. It's really, though, for me, I like that. I'm an Evil Knievel fan, so I'm kind of like the daredevil. I like to do all that crazy stuff. But most people, 80% of people, are not like that. They don't want to take real crazy risks. But no risk, no reward. God, He wants us to do that. And Pastor Matthew preached today because his brother Andrew caught with a knife and cut his foot while they were fishing. But Matthew was appointed by God to preach that message today. And I was in the front row and sitting in there. And we were just like talking, and he was just preached such a powerful, powerful message today. And that's God working, right? How would Andrew drop a knife on his foot? Like, how does that happen? It's not random, right? Because God had a different plan for who was preaching today. And I saw Andrew out in the he was he came in on one of those carts, that you put your knee on and your foot's elevated a little bit. And he had it all wrapped up like like they just did it this morning, to wrap him up. And I'm only laughing just because he was kind of laughing. He's like, "Yeah, I had a fishing accident." So, but anyway, it's all good, and so I'm planning, and so my planning is I want to continue to influence the people that I'm living among, right, and locally in my congregation, in the church that I fellowship at, but then in all the congregations here in Kern County, and I have some experience with all these guys. I'm working in Kern County and San Luis Obispo County, the two counties here in the northern part of SoCal, and then down the counties to San Diego. Anyway, all the Abundance Complex, SoCal, that's my big picture of my local area. But then all these other Abundance Complexes came to me, and the Lord led me to in Mission 2019. So this is back a few years ago. But now for this new one, it's like he's putting together the occupational cultures with the ministry stuff, with the future, and and I'm just praying, Lord, help me walk and make this mission come to pass. And so this is what I really want to do, and I'm doing all the talking here because there's nobody on, and and I hope people will pick this up eventually, maybe 3 weeks from now, or even a year from now. And I'm talking to you. God has a plan, and He wants you to follow it. It's a plan of blessing. Amen. So be strong, be courageous, and let the Lord fill you and use you powerfully. And I have one last thing I want to do, and I'm going to do this just for the fun of it. We have this vision, right? This 25-year vision called Mission 2025, and we need a little bit of a rally cry. And so UCLA is my home turf, and so I have some USC friends, and I still don't like them. But anyway, we have this rivalry, right, in LA, and so that whole competition thing, it's really just tongue-in-cheek fun, right? Because it builds this camaraderie, this little combative camaraderie about our little town called Los Angeles. And so we want there to be greatness here. And there always is greatness here. So we're going to bring in Greg Laurie. He's doing some stuff. And hopefully Franklin Graham's going to come in. We got some BGA friends. And then we got John Maxwell's team, right? And I'm connected with those guys. And then we got Tamara Lowe and her team, and going to have them helping us too. And so we're just kind of building a little bit of momentum here to really get at this challenge. I've put up a bunch of stuff on my Facebook about all the people that are getting saved. And as the pastors and I are discussing all this at our church, we're realizing that this isn't just our church problem. And again, it's not so much a problem so much as it is there's something that we could do, I believe, to help disciple our people better. So as soon as they get saved, we want to rush, them to the site, to the learning platform, right? KIG for AGK, and get them thinking about that because we want that site to be inviting and to be welcoming. And this is my vision for 2025, for Mission 2025. And I believe that we're going to see God open some doors in India. And China's already got it. And she's going to have some challenges if he feels threatened. But I want to just remove all the threat. And the Lord's given me favor with Elon. And I just think we can get some things going with these other guys. And I just pray for them. This is my prayer as well, that God would just watch over all these, my other five that I don't know. Actually, six that I don't know. I haven't met Jeff Bezos yet. I haven't met Tim Cook, right? Tim's doing the IT part. And he's also done at Apple. And so he's got some time. And I don't know what his projects are besides that. And then we got Xi, right? Who's going to be the chairman for life. And we got Putin, who's also going to be chairman for life. But those guys are over significant stuff. I mean, these are massive, massive, influential people. And Putin is already, I mean, he's a Christian. He's like the head of the third way, or the third Rome, if you will, in the Eastern Orthodox Church. So he knows this stuff, and he's pretty aggressive with the morality stuff in Russia, and the morality polices are all over the Gulf states too. You guys know. So we're just praying for all of our nations, all these abundance complexes, that God would just do his work and that we would have people who are equipped and skilled and love to follow up. And that's what we're creating here in this KIG for AGK. We want to create a new Christian nest, right? Like for those who dwell in the house of the Lord, right? That we will abide in the shadow of the Almighty. In that sense where he kind of like an eagle covers the chicks with her wings. We're like that. And God has given us that illustration for how much he loves us and protects us. And so cozy up to him. And Father, I am talking to people as if they're how am I thinking about them? I think I'm talking to them as friends, but we're really wanting to talk to you. And Father, I pray you would hear us now and hear our hearts. And everybody's got plans, everybody's got dreams, and we're all got to take stewardship of those visions that you give us, those dreams, those ideas, those concepts, those thoughtbergs is my phrase I like to use. Thoughtberg. It's like an iceberg, right? You can see the top of it, but it's way deeper than that. And that's what I'm giving you guys today when we talk about the gospel in 10 words, right? Creator created, creatures corrupted, son saves, king will come again. Now that was my first quarter of the third millennium. That's the gospel presentation I used. It's really simple, but there's other ways to say it, I know. And so I'm coming to getting some different samples. And I put up a invitation on my Facebook page about helping me to do that. And so I've got, I don't know, there's 1,000 or so people that are Facebook friends, and I want to just add to that. It's right now August 2nd, and there's 1,000 something people, but I want to get that thing to 100,000. So if you can just go there, tell your friends just to go to the site and sign up and see me at Facebook. You could sign up there, or Instagram, or all these other places. But we just want to build awareness of that there is training out here for these brand new Christians. And it's not anything they're going to pay for. All that stuff is just, it's all just free, but they can come in. And if you want to support, we absolutely need support because this work's not free, right? But that idea of charging people to hear the gospel, we don't, that's not in our, Jesus doesn't charge people to hear the gospel. However, if you want to go deeper, that's public education, and that's where everybody pays, right? You pay to learn. It's called tuition. And so everybody's comfortable with that. That's just how our systems work. And so do your work heartily unto the Lord, and He'll take care of you. All right. So with that, my dear friends, wish you all the well, and be powerful. We'll talk soon.